go see about my plants this morning. Where are my plants? What in the world? My plants, y'all, they are gone. Oh no. Hey y'all, welcome to my channel, Hooked on Houseplants. My name is Chula and I am so glad to be back with you all today. Y'all, when I went out there to check on my plants this morning, I thought I was gonna have to call the popo. I totally forgot that my plants are no longer on the patio, y'all. I know, can you believe it? Can you believe it? Yes, none of my plants are on the patio any longer. So this is like a huge change for me and my channel. As you can see, they are in this room behind me for the most part, okay? And I'll do a pan around so you can see. So, earlier this week, my husband set up everything in this room. Now, this room used to be our bedroom. Yes. So, our bedroom is now where the living room used to be. So, the space, the big patio where all of my plants were, my husband is going to convert that into a very large family room. So it's a lot of changes going on. As I've mentioned so many times before, we do have a small house, so we're doing things little by little to make our house bigger. So yeah, so I needed a couple of days, y'all. When you start getting old, you realize older, I should say. I mean, before I could do certain things and jump up the next day and be okay, but Chula ain't a spring chicken no more. So I needed a couple of days to recuperate from moving all these plans and getting everything set up. It's just been a lot, and I am so shocked that I was able to fit the majority of my plants in this space. Thanks to my wonderful husband, like he did his thing. He did the thing, y'all. He set up shelves for me, grow lights. We just got some grow lights yesterday, so there's still some that need to be, that he's gonna install for me, but he has just done an excellent job in this room. And also, as you will see in later videos, because I gotta, save some for another video, I also have other planty spaces in our home that I want to show you. So, yeah, a lot of changes. But anyway, I'm gonna do a quick pan of the room, and then we're gonna get into the question and answer Q&A. Yes. All right. So let me show you a little bit of the new space. Okay, y'all. Welcome to the jungle. It is a lot of plants in here. But I'm really loving it. Look at Fanta. Fanta May. I'm really loving it though because I can style things a little bit better. And what do you notice, y'all? No more metal shelves. Look, no more wire hanger. Do y'all remember that movie, Mommy Dears? Anyway, yeah, so hubby put some shelves up, lots of shelves, and it is crowded. I'm not gonna lie, it is a crowded space, but for now, this is just what it is. Um, Eventually, when the family room is completed, I will be able to move some of these plants over in that area. But for the most part, all the majority of the plants are in this space. Okay. And in an upcoming video, like I said, I will um, take you around more slowly so you can just see how I have everything set up. So what do y'all think? What do you think about the new planty space? One of the new planty spaces. All right, so let's get into this Q&A. Okay, y'all. So before we get into this Q&A, I have a message from Profesora Chula. She wanted me to tell you all that she gives you an A plus, that she is proud of each and every one of you for completing your homework assignment, for all of the questions, the participation. She just wanted me to let you know that she really, really appreciates it and that you all get an A plus. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of randomly just go through these questions. I'm going to try to get through them um, as quick as possible. So the first question is, which plant did you not like and ended up buying? Um, I would have to say the varicosum, the philodendron varicosum. And it's not that I didn't like the plant, I just felt like, based upon all the negative comments that I had heard about this particular plant, that I just didn't care to have it in my collection for that reason. But as you know, as I've said before, I do love a challenge. And so you all voted for me to try and grow the varicosum. Okay. And so actually, let me get up and show you what it's looking like. The varicosum. um, yeah, it's it's not looking all that great. Um, I did have it on a mouse pole, and then I ended up taking it off the mouse pole. And so now it has these two antennas sticking up in the middle. But it is growing, it's not dying. So, I'm happy about that. It does have two new leaves that are about to open up. So, yeah, this is the plant that I really didn't want to buy, but ended up buying, the varicosum. Okay, so the next question is, y'all done lost my questions. Okay. Um, did you ever plant shop knowing that you didn't have the room? Yes, yes, and yes. Now, before on the patio, I could get away with probably another plant or two, but now that my circumstances have changed, that I cannot get any more plants. There is just absolutely no room. If you just knew all the trouble I went through trying to get these plants set up, changing things around because there's just not a lot of space. So, yes, I have done that plenty of times. What is your favorite plant related content? I love plant tours, update videos, and I like when certain genuses of plants are highlighted, like someone does a video of their philodendron collection or their begonia collection. I like those are my favorite type of videos. How did you get so interested in aglaonema? It really was not planned. I mean, I just, as I started to get more and more into plants and looking online and shopping for plants, I just noticed how beautiful they were. And I did have a couple, and they were pretty easygoing plants, and they didn't break the bank. And so that's kind of how I got started with them. My very first aglaonema I got was my Siam, and that is currently in my bedroom space. But I actually bought two of them, and I unalived one of them. So I still have my Siam. I think I've had that one for probably about 4 years. So, and also plants in general. Like, how did I get into plants in general? I think I have said this on a previous video, but it's been a while. When my husband and I, when we first got married, you know how sometimes as newlyweds, you don't have a whole lot of furniture and decor and things like that. And I know in our case, when we started out, you know, money was a little bit tight. So when we moved into our apartment, I noticed that it was just bare, like it was just sparse, y'all. And I just was looking around and I'm like, this apartment needs something, you know, to kind of spice it up. And so I said, you know what? I think I'm going to get a couple of plants. And so I think I went to either Home Depot or Lowe's. I don't even remember. And I got a few plants to kind of put around our apartment and kind of make it more cozy uh, uh, looking. And so then after that, through the years, I have always had plants, but I've never had like more than uh, 5 or 6 plants at one time. So that's kind of how I got into plants for decor reasons initially. And then just as I started looking at plants more and I discovered plant videos on YouTube and I started seeing all these beautiful plants and that kind of just really whet my appetite big time to buy more and more plants. Okay, where did I grow up? I grew up in Dayton, Ohio. Yes, up north. And so some of y'all might be wondering, how did you get that southern? Y'all say I sound southern. I don't know. I don't know. This is just how I speak. But yes, I did grow up in Dayton, Ohio. Now my mom is was initially she was born in Georgia. So maybe something came down through the lineage and that's why I got this southern twang. But yes, Dayton, Ohio. Um Someone asked about my love for R&B music. Actually, yes, I do love R&B music, but I like different types of music as well. But I grew up listening to R&B. I mean, I did. That's what I heard the most, and I grew up listening to Motown because my parents, you know, the Commodores, Temptations, Smokey Robinson, and then what Boys to Men, New Edition, you know, all of those. That's what I grew up listening to. And we would have little gatherings and we would, you know, play music and dance. And so that's kind of how I grew up. And R&B music, like I like to dance, and so R&B music has that beat, that really gets you moving. So as far as my favorite artists, I really cannot even say. I love so many artists that it's just I can't even begin to say who is my favorite. Like I said, I listen to so many different types of music. Okay. How did my plant journey begin? I kind of already answered that question. Just trying to think of ways to fill up the space and make it look nicer. That's why I initially started buying plants. What plant did I buy first? I do not remember. Do you know how long ago that was? But it probably more than likely was a pothos. More than likely. How long do you wait to repot once a new plant is bought? That depends. That depends. If the plant is looking good and the substrate is looking decent, I might wait a couple of weeks and try to let it acclimate. But I have gotten some plants that I just, because of how the substrate looked and how the plant was kind of looking, I felt like I needed to get in there and look at the roots. And of course, if you're going to look at the roots, you may as well change the substrate. So it just kind of depends on the plant and how it's looking. If money was no object, what plant would you love to own? What is your dream plant? Well, I would love to have the alocasia venom. I also love I think it's called serendipity alocasia. It's variegated with pink. I will insert a picture on the screen. So, yeah, for right now, those two are pretty much uh, all of the plants I can think of at the moment because, like I said, I really have no more room for plants. I actually do have I did get a wish list plant. I was gonna wait to show you all, but I'll go ahead and show you real quick. Can you all guess what this plant is? Now, it has taken me a while to show you this plant because it was so tiny. I mean, it still is. I didn't know if I was going to be able to keep this thing alive. This is the variegated philodendron bilietiae. Yes, y'all, was one of the wish list plants. This is a very expensive plant. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, it is expensive. That is why I have such a small specimen. Um, it came to me in like a plug, and at first I potted it up in just regular potting mix. But then I noticed that it kind of started to go downhill. So I said, okay, let me put it back in water and try to, it already had a pretty nice little root system, but I said, let me put it back in water and give it more time to root up. Cause like I said, I've had this plant probably about a month and a half. I just hadn't showed it to you. And so then once the root system started looking better, I put it in a mixture of pon and leca. So that's what it's in now. It's doing very well, y'all. I was so scared for this plant. I have been babying this plant. I have really been watching over this plant because I know that this is definitely going to be one of my favorites. This is the newest leaf this is a leaf that it gave me since I've gotten it, and it has another one coming up right there. So yes, this is a wish list plant that I have added to my collection. Now I don't have just a regular Bilietiae. I have a Bilietiae cross with Atabapoense. So I've never really wanted just a regular billietier, but I definitely have had my eye for a long time on the variegated billietier. So yes, here it is. All right. Y'all see Chula be keeping secrets. No, but really, I did not know if I was gonna be able to keep the plant alive. So I said, let me just wait before I show them. So yes, very happy to have this plant. Okay, so what is my most expensive plant? Right here behind me, my albo, my Monstera albo. When I got that plant, it was just a one leaf cutting. And I got it in, I think, the end of 2020, when the albo was still very expensive. So I think I paid like almost $200 just for a one leaf cutting. Yes, I did. Okay, so do you have a price limit? Yeah, kind of, sorta. It depends on the plant. Like, if it's a plant that I really, really want, I will go up to probably about $100 now. That's my limit now. Um, but it has to be a plant that I really, really want. Okay, what part of Georgia do you live in? I live in the southeast part of Georgia. I'm about like 45 minutes out from Atlanta. Um, and I'm kind of like right in between, um, very near the city of Covington. So, yes, that's where we are at currently. Do I have any air plants? No, I don't. Do you have any siblings? Yes, I do. I have three sisters and one brother. All of my sisters are here in Georgia, and my brother is still in Ohio. Does your husband love plants? He likes them. Um, he likes them. I'll just say that. Um, what is your favorite food? Well, let me go back to the previous question. My girls, however, they love my plants. They are always looking at them. Mommy, your plants are so beautiful. And they actually have a couple of plants in here that are their favorites. And I have been showing them how I take care of the plants because I want them to develop a love for plants as well. What is your favorite food? I would have to say lasagna. I love me some lasagna. Um, was this your first time purchasing from Lost in the Forest? Okay, yes. I think in my last video I mentioned that I bought another aglaonema, spathanema, and I got that from Lost in the Forest, a plant shop in Minnesota. And yes, that was my very first time ordering from them. How many, well, I'll wait for that question. What is your favorite plant? That is, you know what? I really cannot answer that question. But what I will do, because I have so many favorites, is I want to do a video where I show you a favorite plant from each genus. Okay, because I cannot just say what is my favorite plant because I have so many that are like, neck and neck. I just cannot say. So I will do a video though, showing you favorites from each genus. um how long have you been a plant mom? It's probably ever since I got married, so probably about 24 years I have had plants. But there were some gaps in that time where I didn't have any plants. But as far as when I got a whole lot of plants, I will start saying that I really, really, really started collecting probably in about 2022 is when I really started collecting a lot. Okay, so how many plants do you have? The $1 million question. And I did not know till a couple of days ago. I didn't know how many plants I had. And it was funny because my girls, they went around and they helped me count them. Y'all, I have 244 plants. 244 plants. I I thought it was a little bit more, but when I heard that number, I was just like, I kind of felt a certain kind of way, but we'll get into that later on. But yes, I have 244 plants, and someone asked how many Hoya. 45 of those plants are Hoya. So I have 45 Hoya. Okay. Someone asked about my reflector, my Dieffenbachia reflector, which is over here on this table. They asked me, how do I keep it looking so nice? To be honest, when I got the plant, it was already full and lush. I have it in self-watering because it is a thirsty plant. I make sure I keep the leaves cleaned off, and I give it medium to bright light, and that's really all that I do, which is what I do for most of my all of my plants. So I haven't really done anything special, but like I said, it did come to me already a full healthy plant. Okay, someone asked, are you easygoing in your personal life? Am I easygoing? For the most part, yes. Um, I'm assuming that what the um, plant family member is asking is, am I this silly in regular life? Maybe that would be yes. Yes, I'm a silly person. It runs in my blood. Both of my parents had a wonderful sense of humor. Um, my siblings have a sense of humor. We're all silly. We like to crack jokes, and as I have said before, when you hear the phrase that laughter is the best medicine, that is so true. Because I'm telling you, I have been through some things in my life where I thought I would never laugh or smile again. And I realized that allowing yourself to laugh and to crack jokes and to be funny, I know in my case that has helped me out so much. So yes, I am really like this in real life. Probably worse, probably worse in real life than I am, in my videos. But yes, I'm an easygoing person. What is your most difficult plant to grow? Mm, hmm, that's a good question. My begonia. I'll have to say my begonia. Really not my cane begonia, but my other types of begonia, the Rex begonia, they have been very difficult for me to grow. I still struggle with them. And I still struggle with some of my cane begonia as well. What kind of fertilizer do you use? I'll insert a picture of what I'm using right now, but I've used so many different types of fertilizers through the years. I'm always changing things up. So, Yeah, I'll insert a picture. I think it's called Purived, and I got it off Amazon. Uh, what brand of plastic containers do you use? There's no particular brand. I use any kind that looks good for what I'm looking for at the moment, really. I mean, there's no special kind that I order all the time. Like I said, I'm always looking to find different and products that I think will work better for my situation. Do I use wicking ropes? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. The majority of my plants are in self-watering setup. So yes, I use a wicking rope. So it looks like that. Okay. Um, are you going to sell plants? No. 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 I do not plan on selling plants. I think that will be too stressful for me. I have too much going on in my life. I tend to be a perfectionist. I feel like it would be too much pressure on me to try to sell plants. So no, that is not a goal of mine. I'll leave that to the rest of y'all. What are the goals for your YouTube channel? Well, I mean, I would love to continue to make plant content. Um, I would like to kind of branch out in some other areas of plant care. To be honest, I can't really even say how long I'll be able to do it because, well, I'll get into that later because there's another question that's kind of related to this one. Um, how does your family feel about your plants? Um, like I said, my girls love my plants and my husband likes them too. Do you ever feel guilty about your hobby? Um, Not really. And the reason why is because um I'm the type of person that there are a lot of, and I'm not saying anything is wrong with this. I'm just answering the question. But there are a lot of women, wives, and girlfriends that they want to have their nails done every week, their hair done every week. They have to have the nicest clothes and this and that. I'm not like that at all. I'm not. Yes, I like nice things, I do, but it's not like a priority. I have learned, excuse me, to do my own hair. I can paint my own nails. I can do all of that, but I'm not like, oh, I have to have these things. And I think because I'm not that way, of course, my husband appreciates that. So he does allow me to um, kind of splurge on plants because he does recognize that I need something. I need something that I enjoy, that's all mine, that I enjoy doing. So, no, I don't feel guilty because really this is the only thing, well, besides clothes for my girls. I do I do spend a lot of money on my girls, but besides my plants, that's really the only things that I really, really splurge on. Would I notice if a plant came up missing? This is a question my sister sent. She's so silly. Uh, it depends. If it's one of my favorite plants, yes, I'm definitely gonna notice right away. Now, if it's not a favorite plant, it might take me a couple of days to realize that it's missing. But yes, I would. I think I would notice. Um, what is what substrate do you use for your aglaonema? There is not a specific substrate that I use. Um, and as a matter of fact, which I'm going to cover that in another video, I have went back to making my own mix just because I've been using the Kraft Aeroid mix, but I always have to repot something, and it's starting to get expensive. So I'm coming to the realization once again that it's cheaper to make my own substrate. So that's what I have been doing for the last week or two. As far as my aglaonema, they're in a more of a chunkier mix. At first, I used to have them in like a really, really chunky mix. But now I would just say it's let's see, this is the closest one to me, the Sumatra. So the mix just kind of looks like that, if you can see. So, it's probably just cocoa coir, perlite, some bark, and that's pretty much it. So, like I said, there's nothing really special. Okay. But I do, like I said, when it comes to aglaonema, I do like the mix to be a little bit more on the chunky side. Okay. Hoya props. I guess they're asking when I propagate Hoya, what do I propagate them in? Uh, I have the majority, if not all, just water. In the past, I used to use, I can never remember the name of that stuff, fluval stratum. I used to use stratum. I have not used stratum probably in over a year. I just root up the majority of my plants in water, Hoya included. Sometimes I will use, when it comes to philodendron, I will use, or monstera, I will use sphagnum moss to root them up. But it's either going to be just water or sphagnum moss. So with Hoya, I root them in water. I propagate them in water. As far as light, yes, I like to have them under bright light when I am trying to root them in water. They asked if I use a heat covering. No, I don't. I don't use the heat mat. I don't use the humidity dome. I just put it in water and I put it right under the grow light if possible. How do you use sulfur on your plants? Well, I've tried it both ways. I have tried it where you mix it with water and then you want to follow the instructions on the label. I have mixed it in water and sprayed it on my plants that way. But just recently, I think in the video before last, I showed this little brush that I have. And I just used the powder sulfur. And I just kind of, I'll insert B-roll so you can see from that video how I do it. But I use sulfur when, if I don't see any other type of pest on my Hoya and they stop growing, and if I don't see root mealies, I tend to assume that they may have flat mites. So that's when I will treat them with sulfur. Okay, do you speak Spanish? Sí, yo hablo español. Yo hablo español, pero yo no soy hispana. So I speak Spanish, but I am not Spanish. Okay. My husband is Spanish, but yes, yo hablo español. 9 to 5 job. No. Well, no, I do not have a 9 to 5 job. I am blessed to be a stay-at-home mom. The last 9 to 5 job that I had was right before I started having children, which was 12 years ago. Was the last time I had a secular 9 to 5 job. My last job, I was actually a telephone operator at a major hospital in Atlanta. So I'm a stay-at-home mom. That is a 24-hour That's more than just 9 to 5. My girls do homeschool. So, yeah, I'm pretty busy between that and other things during the day. But eventually, I would love to get back into the workforce once my girls get older. But yes, it is a blessing that I'm able to stay home with my girls. Uh, does your husband complain about your plants? No, he doesn't. He's very great when it comes to my plants. He knows how important they are to me, and he respects that, and he helps me out in whatever way that he can, and I really appreciate that. The only time he starts to complain is when I start spending too much money on plants. And because they're inside the house now, I think that he probably will start to complain if I started buying more because there's just no room at this point for more plants. But no, generally, he is very great when it comes to my plants. Are they all over your house? At this point, before I would say no, but now, yes, they are in different areas of my house now. And I have to say that I'm loving it. I am. And in a future video, I will show you all my planty spaces. So the last question is, do you have duplicates? Yes, I do. I have two Monstera albos, and two Monstera Thai constellations. But those are my only duplicates. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the Q&A. I certainly enjoyed it, and I appreciate so much all of your questions, your participation. I really, really appreciate it. I don't know if it will be my next video, because my next video I kind of would like to show you around my planty spaces, but maybe in the video after that is when I will mention the things that you all would like us plant content creators to do more of and also less of. So if you enjoyed this content, which I hope that you did, please feel free to like, share, as well as subscribe. I'm also on TikTok and Instagram if you want to check me out over there. Make sure you are hit that notification bell so you know when I have uploaded new planty content. Okay? All right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. And until the next time, hooked on houseplants, y'all. Bye. Adios.